So that's the ride over. Admin's done. I've had some food. Now I'm having a brew. Thought I'd give you a quick rundown of the past 5 days. Just really just a quick rundown of the trip and what worked, what didn't work, and where mistakes were made. Start off Wednesday we left, or just before that. We decided to push the leave date to Thursday from Land's End, which that gave us an extra day. It was more down to the fact that we knew the roads were going to be busy, so we figured that there might be a few issues in that. Having the extra day would just give us a buffer zone. As it turns out, we really needed it. I left the workshop on Wednesday, met Nick. We rode down to Land's End. Fairly easy, uneventful bimble down. Got down there about 6 o'clock, stayed at a lovely campsite called Tower Park. No affiliation, but yeah, it was perfect facilities, massive campsite, basically rock up, pitch your tent wherever you want, which was absolutely fantastic. Neil met us there about 7. Neil got set up, and then we went out to get something to eat, which is where the first mistake happened, as the only pub in the village stopped selling food at 8 o'clock. So we ended up with pork scratchings, scampi fries and bacon fries from the pub, and some pasta that Nick had bought, so I was lucky. Got our heads down and made out for Land's End about 6:45 in the morning. Got to Land's End at 7, which was really good because it was quiet. There's nobody there. Got the pictures, jumped on the bikes, and then set off. And that's where the day started to go bad, really. Made a few bad choices on the route in hindsight, and it took us best part of the day to get out of Devon, due to traffic and camper vans. During the day, Nick had some problems with his legs, his leg. You know, it is what it is. People get injured, people pull things. So we only got as far as Hereford that night. I managed to get in at the rowing club. Obviously, I was planning on the Lake District. That never happened. So we made the best out of a bad situation. Stopped at Hereford while it was still light, about 6 o'clock. Got some food. It'd been a long day riding. We'd had plenty of stops, but it was hot and hard going up the A39. In hindsight, we could have picked a better route through Devon. That's on me. So 400 miles that first day. Pitched tents, had a good night's sleep. Got up in the morning. Nick made the decision that his leg was too bad, and because he was just an hour or an hour and a half, 2 hours from Cardiff, he was going to drop off the run then, rather than go any further north, and it was a sensible thing to do. So from then on, it was just me and Neil. We set out at 7 o'clock, and was really eager to make sure we were in Scotland. Best case, John O'Groats. Worst case, Fort William, which was our initial planned stop. Anyway, smashed it. We got up to Warrington in about 2 hours. Empty roads, really easy going. Got up there, got some food. Got through Manchester, Lake District. Once we got to Warrington, it started to rain. So banged the waterproofs on, made best progress we could in wet conditions. Got to the middle of the Lake District where it dried up. Started to see the blue skies. We already knew it was warm in Scotland because we had people messaging us to let us know. So yeah, so flew up through to Carlisle. Great route up A6 all the way from Preston. Lovely roads up through the Lake District if you don't want to go up the M6. Carlisle, food, jump back on the bikes. And the only reason we really stopped for food there is because we had to charge the pack talks. And then flew up the 7076 off the top of my head, basically up through to Glasgow. Come off at Glasgow, fantastic ride from Glasgow up the A82 all the way up Loch Lomond, Glencoe and into Fort William, where we met Emma, who is she's got one of the working dogs from Hounds for Heroes, so it was really good to catch up, see how they were getting on, get a quick photo, and then I think we got there at about 9 o'clock at night. It was quite late, and then pitched up our tents at the base of Ben Nevis in the woods there. Got eaten alive. Neither of us really had a great night's sleep to say we was knackered. But yeah, got some sleep. Next morning, the mission was just to get to John O'Groats. At best speed, we set out at 7 o'clock, hit John O'Groats before lunch, had a quick lunch, and then had a blast along the North Coast 500. So 2.5 days to get to John O'Groats. Could we have done it in the 2 days? Yes, if we'd have done a better route selection through Devon. But it is what it is. And then we went back to Fort William then, met up with Emma again and Katie, and then had some food. And at that point, I'll be perfectly honest, we were just emotionally and physically exhausted. We'd achieved what we wanted to achieve, and that was get to John O'Groats. So yeah, so we had some food, and then our bodies sort of shut down on us. So we pitched up our tents on Emma's drive, which was a fantastic shout, rather than drive somewhere else. And we spent the night there and had a really good night's sleep. And then this morning got up. We had one mission, and that was to get back to Wales. So we left sunny Scotland, can't believe I'm saying that, and it was sunny. I think on Saturday on the way to John O'Groats we had temperatures breaking into the 30s. Phenomenal roads. So the weather's really been on side. And then we hightailed it back home, pretty much the same route down, give or take a bit of motorway, just to try and crunch some of the miles back, and make the journey a bit easier. But it actually turned out to be a lot harder because there was a lot more traffic on the road, and we spent most of the time on the motorway filtering at 20 miles an hour. It rained pretty much as soon as we got in England. We were pretty much in drizzle the whole way down. And then when we got to Chester, the final leg was down the 483 through Wales. And in typical Welsh fashion, it rained the whole way. So we got absolutely drenched on the way home. The journey, to say we've done just over 2,000 miles. Actually, the riding was not that hard, and I think that's partly down to the bikes, but I'll talk about the bikes in a minute. But yeah, we got back, sorted the bikes out, sorted them out, de-kitted them, Neil's gone off to have a nice night at his in-laws, and I'm going to do some bits and bobs around the workshop before I turn in for the night. Um, Fantastic day. Days. Um, to cover 700 miles on a bike and keep the pace up and the momentum and the focus is a lot of work, a lot more than I even thought about. And I've done some silly, stupid challenges over the years. This one was probably the hardest, I think, both mentally as well as physically demanding. The bikes, let's talk about the bikes. Well, the Super Duke is probably the comfiest bike I've ever ridden. The 1190 used to nip me in the thighs and cause me all sorts of pain. The Super Duke, nothing, no problem at all. I mean, I've got the power part seat, 700 miles all the way up to Scotland, and I had no issues at all. The only sort of real pain I had today, but I think that was more through being in the saddle for so long, as in 5 days continuous riding really. Slight issue going into Scotland where for some reason the tyre pressure sensors kicked off and told me I'd lost a bit of air in the front tyre. Topped that up and it's not lost any air, so I don't know really what caused that. It could have been the temperature shift as we came down. And key fob battery low, which I'll get changed, but again I think that was first thing in the morning on Saturday and was probably more down to the temperature at the base of Ben Nevis than the actual battery being low, because it's been fine since and not giving me the warning again. I did drop it. I dropped it moving on a off camber. It was on Emma's Drive, off camber, and I was trying to turn it round and dropped it. But that's why I've got crash protection. There was no damage to the bike at all. Small scratch on the crash protection, and I had the bag on the back which held it up. What worked on there really well is I bought these little bags off Amazon. They cost me about 30 quid. Really handy for just keeping bits and bobs in. They don't interfere with you when you're riding. Tank bag, who I got from Keith, racelevers.co.uk. Absolutely blinding bloke. I got a KTM tank bag that I've had for years off the adventure bike, and went to fit it on the KTM, and it just interfered too much with the fuel filler cap. Just wasn't going to work. Put a shout out on the Super Duke forum. Keith came up and said, yeah, I can sort you one out. Rang him up, said he'd next day it, paid the money, and it was literally there in 3 days. Fantastic guy. Really appreciate that. That really helped, being able to just have everything on the tank that I need in and out, and the tank bag's nice and small, so going in and out like stops when garages and stuff when you just need to nip off is perfect. The Triumph again didn't miss a beat at all. The only issue Neil had is he did lose his top box, but yeah, I think that was just the vibrations, and again pushing the bikes hard, and the top box bracket that Neil had made last week, last minute again, just to give him some extra space, gave out. Luckily we had Kate in the van. She came to the rescue, met us at a garage on the side of the road, slung the top box in her van. It only had Neil's camping gear in. It was fine, and yeah, we cracked on. So maybe some modifications there. I took everything in my bag as I always do and just strapped the bag to the back of the bike. Caused me some issues with the seated position. It was alright, but I was quite squashed up against the tank. I'll probably finally pull my finger out and get some panniers for it. Apart from that, really, the bike performed effortlessly. They were comfy, quite evenly matched, and for super nakeds, they make great touring bikes. You know, little things like cruise control just allows you to take your right hand off for a bit of a breather when you've got some long straights on the A roads. What else? What else? Shot through a whole set of tyres. Definitely be getting the tyres that Neil's got on his bike. His don't even look like they've done anything. So I think I'll put a set of them on the Super Duke next time. Although I have loads of faith in the Metzlers and coming through the rain today. They never missed a beat, never gave out, and we were riding spiritedly. I have shot through the rear in 2,000 miles. So yeah, that's killed that. No flat spots on our over set of tyres. That's why we tried to stick to A roads. No sort of flat spot on the top of the tyre. It's kept its shape, which is really good because the roads in Scotland really require you to be able to go around corners. Yeah, and that's really it in a nutshell. Camping gear wise, we all went out self-sufficient, so we all had our own jet balls, all our own tents, all our own sleeping bags, all our own means to survive, which, you know, me and Nick have done a few trips before where we shared stuff, but actually having the ability to just be on your own and self-sufficient, if somebody has to drop off, it means that you're not having to split gear down. And it worked. We carried very minimal. We only carried what we needed. We had no plans to sort of go out and about. We were both riding in jeans, so when we went out for a meal last night, we had our riding jeans on, so that was fine. Yeah. Shout out to the rowing club in Hereford for putting us up at the last minute. That was really great. Fantastic facilities there. Very surreal sort of place to go camping right in the middle of the city. But if you're ever stuck in that area, then do that. And I suppose the last thing to mention is the charity. You can see the banner behind me. Hounds for Heroes. Fantastic job these guys do. I've seen a few of the dogs that they have in training, and the way that they change people's lives, and they really do change people's lives in whatever role they're working in. And I'm so happy that we was able to raise over £2,000 with gift aid for them. So that was a big shout out to everybody who's donated, because that was you guys, not us. We just decided that we was going to do this run for a charity, and they were the charity we decided on. So I suppose all that's left to say is stand by for the Stupid Ideas Run 2023, because there's already an idea cooking and it's going to be bigger than this one. So yeah, we'll start looking at that one and get that one ready, penciled in for next year. That's it from me. I am going to go back to, I'm going to go to sleep, but I'm going to go back to doing some building because I've got some bikes to get finished. So I'll see you all soon. Cheers.